Next, interview method. This you were telling, right?
Is it necessary, ma'am?
Yeah, this I saw in question paper.
Hmm.
So we'll do this now.
Yes,
Interview
ma'am.
in research. Okay. So what is research basically?
Finding out the truth.
Finding out the truth, right? We want some more information on a thing. Research, searching again and again and again so that we get some new information, some additional information. Now, there are
Hmm.
different methods of doing research. Okay, take for example,
Hmm.
you would see some Discovery, History TV, National Geographic, all those channels would show some documentary, right? Where they would interview
Hmm.
person, right? That they will interview what was your experience. If a person was a patient of COVID, that they will ask you what was your experience, what all things you had to go through, how did you feel. What is that? Nothing but an interview method. So in method as in how you do the research, how you finally complete it. There are different ways of doing it, right? So method is nothing but a way of doing a certain thing. Okay, like we say, right? Solving this particular maths. Method as in how do I solve this particular maths, right? So that is
Hmm.
method is. Method in research as in what are the different ways of doing a research or completing a research, and out of that interview is also a method. Okay, so see these questions, right? These are very simple. You just need to remember this one or two these points. All right. So just pay
Hmm.
aram se you listen. Don't feel ki okay fine my exams are coming. I need to go through this also or something. It's very simple if you just try to understand the concept. Okay. You only need to remember the words, few words. Okay. You will be
Hmm.
able to write in your own words also. It's not that difficult. So again, we can start with an intro. That in interview, an interview is what? An interview is a conversation for gathering information. That we talk to the other person to gather some information. Right. So first day, maybe I was asking you whether you are doing BA.LL.B, BBA.LL.B. When is it your exams are going to end? Do you have a holiday before legal methods or not? Why all those things I was asking you? Because I wanted to gather some basic information about you to know how much time do you actually have to prepare for the exam. Right. So that was also
Hmm.
like an interview only. I wanted to gather some information from you. So I asked you
Hmm.
questions, right? So same happens here also. An interview is what? It is a conversation for gathering information. It is not a random conversation that you have with a friend. You have a purpose also. What is the purpose? Gathering information. You want some information from the other person. For that reason, you are having conversation with that person. A research interview involves an interviewer who coordinates the process of conversation. That means if I am doing a research on a certain matter, I will initiate the process. Right? I will coordinate it. I would ask you questions and all the things. So there will be an interviewer. Take for example, I am doing a research. I will interview. I will have the questions ready and I will ask the questions. And interviewee who responds to those questions. Maybe you are the interviewee who is responding to the questions. Maybe I'm doing a research on how law colleges in Bangalore are in Karnataka are functioning. I'm asking you about your college. How is it? What is it? Everything I'm asking. That means
That interview.
interview,
Interviewing.
right? I'm interviewing you to gather some information. Those information
Hmm.
are not some random information, but I specifically want information regarding how your college is functioning, how legal education is provided in colleges in Karnataka, right? With that sole intention, I have framed some questions I'm accordingly asking you to gather the necessary information for my research. Right, so that part you can maybe write in your introduction on what is interview method in research. Next is what is interview method in research? You can write an interview is generally quantitative research technique which involves asking open-ended questions to converse with the respondent and collect illicit data about a subject. It's fine even if you do not write all of this stuff, it's fine. You can simply write. An interview method in research is a method of collecting or gathering information from the interviewee regarding the topic in hand, the topic of research. The interviewer in most cases is the subject matter expert who tends to understand respondent opinion in a well-planned and executed series of questions and answers. The interviewer is what is a, like interviewer would have some knowledge with regard to it, right? If I'm asking questions regarding how your college is functioning, I would ask you some specific questions like, are you having your classes? Did you get some materials from your college or not? Are you having your exams on time? Right? There are some specific questions which I would ask. I would not normally ask you, do you have AC in your classroom or not? Why? Because that is not right. So I would accordingly ask you those questions. Why? Because I know what I want to gather, what information is important for me. Accordingly, I will frame the question and I will seek answer from you. There are different types of interviews which may be there. You simply need to remember these names. Other stuff you can write. What is interview, you know. What is research, you know. What is interview method in research, that also you know. Those you will be able to explain. Simply to remember these names, okay? These words you need to remember. Types of interviews. Interviews can be designed differently depending on the needs being addressed and information. That means, what is my need? What kind of information do I want to gather? Based on that, I will frame the questions. And based on that, interviews are of different types. Okay, they can be grouped into following three types. So basically these are the three different types which we have. First one is structured interview. In structured interview, interviewer asks a set of standard predetermined questions about a particular topic in a specific order. That means I will ask you some questions which I have already decided that these 10 are the questions that I'm going to ask. And in this particular order only I'm going to ask you, and I will get the information from you, right? The respondent need to select the answer from list of options. That means I will give you some list of options. You just need to tick there. You must have seen while watching YouTube videos, sometimes there would be some survey thing comes. Have you seen that?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So what they ask you, which shampoo have you seen in an online commercial? Dove, Clinic, that. There would be 5 options given. You need to select from there. All right. That is what? That is structured interview. The question is already framed. Answers are given. You simply need to tick one option. Okay. If you visit some mall and all, they would ask you to fill some survey forms. They would come to you and say, please fill this form. So those are nothing but structured interview. That company frame the questions in a certain order. You just need to fill those questions, right? So that is nothing but structured question. From name itself, it's clear, right? Structured as in already it is decided, right? Structure is decided that these are questions, these are the options. You select from here only, and in this order only you fill the questions, right? Very simple, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Simple?
Yes, simple, ma'am.
Simple, right? Simply you need to remember structured interview because questions are structured, so a structured interview. Next one is semi-structured interview. And this method, right, it is basically helpful when we want to gather some, like some basic information, whether you have heard of a shampoo named Dove or not. That is the basic thing I want to know. I don't want to know your opinion, whether you feel that shampoo is good quality shampoo or not, that like the scent is good or not. I don't want to know all that stuff. I just want to know, have you heard of that name or not? That's all. In such cases, when I want some basic information, structured interview method plays a very important role, right? Second is semi-structured interview. Again, from name only, it is very clear. What happens here is the interviewer uses a set of predetermined questions and the respondents answer in their own words. Semi-structured interviews are useful when there is a need to collect in-depth information in a systematic manner from a number of respondents and interviewers. Interviewees, for example, teacher, community leader, etc. What happens? Semi-structured. That means questions I have decided. All right, I have written questions also that in this order I am asking you, but I have not given you any options or anything. You are free to give your opinion. Why? Because I want in-depth information about it. Right? Maybe I ask you that all of your teachers, which teacher's teaching do you like the most? Why do you like it? Is it because it is easy to understand, easy to relate? What is it? You are free to write your opinion, right? So I will just ask you who is your favorite teacher, why do you like that teacher, right? You are free to write whatever you want. Why I am giving you that option? Because I want to get in-depth information from you, right? I'm not giving you any options or anything, so that you are free to write anything that you want. That is nothing but semi-structured interview where questions are decided, order is decided, but options are not given. You are free to give your opinion. Is it clear?
Clear, ma'am.
Yeah. So this is briefly I want to know. This is in-depth information I want. Yeah. Third one is unstructured interview. Again, from name only it's clear. What is unstructured interview?
There is no preparation of the questions. It's like a random questions.
Yeah, there is no preparation of questions. This is like most common that you would see in some, mostly you would see these kind of interviews taking place. Okay. So this is more common in TV and all what we see, right? Questions are usually pre-framed. TV interviews and all you would see, right? Those are most questions are framed, but they are given the option that you can answer. Unstructured is what? The interviewer has no specific guidelines, restrictions, or predetermined questions or list of options. The interviewer will ask few broad questions to engage the respondent in an open, informal, and spontaneous discussion. So it is basically discussion. Okay?
Let's see the debate, no, ma'am. Debate.
Not debate.
Panel discussion.
Like discussion, okay, not like debate also. I basically want some information. So what I will have is write down that these are the 10 questions that I'm asking or something. I basically want to know how was your opinion or something. Maybe you went for holiday to somewhere, okay, maybe Pondicherry, you went for a holiday and I have never been to Pondicherry, but I want to go there. All right. So ask you, I know that I want to gather some information like how to reach Pondicherry from Bangalore. Okay, I want that information. I want to know about ticket price and I want to know about best time to visit. Maybe these are the three things where I want to gather information, but I will not write down the questions, right? I will just simply to you and I will start the conversation, right? That is nothing but unstructured interview where I will start with the discussion. Maybe I would go and ask you, how was your experience? How did you go there? What was it? Everything I would ask, right? So here I do not have the questions written in any order or anything, but broadly I have an idea that these are the information that I want to gather. I want to know best time to visit Pondicherry, best mode of reaching there, and how to reach there, maybe ticket price and all. So broadly, these are the things where I want to gather information, but questions and all I have not framed. I would randomly talk to you and I would try to gather that information. Okay, you can share about your experience, what experience you had visiting which beach, anything you can tell. You are free. Nothing but unstructured interview, right? It is what? It is like informal. We are not having a formal interview or something. It's very informal. I would normally ask you certain details. Unstructured interviews are particularly useful for getting the stories behind your experience when there is little information about a topic. I did not know for how many days you went there, what was your experience like, and anything. I simply went to you and I started having the conversation slowly. I got some details. On the basis of that, I asked you some questions and things like that. All right. It is like interview. That also we can do, right?
Okay.
So this may be applicable. Take for example, there is a person who was victim of maybe acid attack. I'm doing a research on acid attack, and I went to that person and I asked that what was it, how was the experience, what all medical treatments have you taken, what all precautions are you taking now. All that stuff randomly I may ask. Why? Because I was not having much details about what the person have gone through. So I would take part in like an informal kind of a discussion and try to gather the information. Other three different types of interviews which we have. Then
the methods of
methods of research interviews. Right? Again, this is also very simple and easy to relate thing only. Methods of research. That means, okay, fine, you will interview the person, but how are you going to interview? That is nothing but method, right? Method, research interview. How are you going to interview a person for the purpose of your research? There are mainly three methods to conduct a research interview, each of which is peculiar in its application, right? Each of which are having its own uniqueness, and accordingly you need to select which is the best one for you. So there are three main methods: personal interviews or face-to-face interview, telephonic interviews, and last one is online interviews. So first is personal interview. Personal interview, the questions are asked personally, directly to the respondent. I will go to you directly, I would ask the questions. Right? For that is
for face-to-face interview or a personal interview.
Yeah, face-to-face or a personal interview. Like you would have Viva and all, right? The interview, same. For this, the researcher can have to take note of the answers, right? I may even carry like a notebook or something where I would just write the answers that you have given. Maybe I would carry a recorder or something, or maybe I would record on my phone only. I would take your permission and I will start recording your responses on my phone also, so that later on I can come home, listen to that, and then I can start writing my like research. So in personal interview, the person would go there, directly ask the questions and collect the information. But what happens is I need to invest a lot of time, effort, energy, and everything to go to the other person, meet that person, and conduct the interview. All right.
Yes.
Next one is telephonic interview. Telephonic interviews are widely used and easy to combine with online surveys to carry out research effectively. They are usually lower cost and information can be collected quickly. You must have seen, if you order something from Amazon and all, if the delivery person comes to deliver the item and you did not accept it because of any reason, okay, your delivery got cancelled, that tomorrow we will again try. Immediately from Amazon, you would get a call and they would ask if the delivery agent really tried reaching you or not. Did you actually make the call or not? Have you seen like that?
Yes, ma'am. I have experience.
You have experience, right? So that is a telephonic interview. Immediately they would call you, then they would collect this information that whether the delivery agent actually tried this or not, right? So that telephonic interview which happens. If you are ordering from some app or something, immediately sometime you stop, they would again call you and ask, why are you not ordering these days? Was it that you want to share, any feedback you want to give? Those are nothing but telephonic interview. here what happens, it's very quickly data can be collected, right? Immediately they would call you, simply you would select and information is received. Last one is online interview, which can be
Online.
Skype, Google Hangout, email, web page, WhatsApp, many other modes also, right? It can be conducted. So any example of online interview that you have seen?
I have seen, madam, Google also, Google Meet,
Hmm.
Zoom,
Hmm.
also online interviews.
Yeah.
Yeah, I attended a parents' meeting for my daughter.
Hmm.
Have an interview in online.
Online interviews, again it can be by different modes, right? When we see this like YouTube thing, right? On YouTube we have different surveys and all, there we need to select, that is also nothing but online interview where we are selecting, right? Sometimes if you are ordering something from Amazon and it gets delivered, you would get one option, right? Rate the delivery experience, rate the product.
Yes.
What is that rating? Nothing but an online interview only. You need to share your experience about how good or bad was the product, right? So that,
Even the stars are giving stars, no, ma'am.
yeah, giving stars, sometimes they would also ask that tell us why was it 5 star, why is it 1 star, that also you may tell, right? So it would depend what kind of information they are collecting, but mode is basically online, right? It may be some online mode you are doing it. If you are calling some customer support executive also, they would say ki, okay, after this call ends you would get some link, please rate us there. Have you heard that?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
So that also is nothing but online interview only, right? That particular company try to know how good or experienced was that call center executive, right? So that also will be online interview. So these are very simple, right? Personal interview, telephonic interview, online interview. You have experienced all of these three things, right? So these
Yes, ma'am.
different methods of interview in case of research. Then you can finally conclude it saying that to summarize this discussion, an effective interview will be one that provides researcher with the necessary data to know the object of study and that this information is applicable to the decisions researcher makes, right? We would collect basically these data so that the data is helpful, right? If I'm doing a research on legal education provided in different law colleges of Karnataka, I would not ask you some random information like how far is your college from your home. Why? Because I don't have anything to do with that information. I would only ask you relevant information which will be useful for my research, right? So accordingly, I will design and I will ask the questions. Is it clear?
Clear, ma'am.